Israel is Satan defeating its neighbors and reportedly doing satanic rituals. The IDF says the troops deserted the base, leaving behind their weapons without the approval of their superiors after the battalion commander decided to take down and destroy signs that had been put up by the soldiers. They are saying that basically the commanders were involved in satanic activities. The decorative signs had contained materials that supposedly humiliated soldiers in the unit. According to the Army, soldiers claim the signs were part of our company tradition. The incident is being investigated and handled by the commanders. This is an incident that is inconsistent with the values of the IDF, with what is expected of our soldiers. The military said infantry soldiers in the IDF have a history of mass desertion over alleged unfair treatment in the military. So just more bizarre behavior. We're going to be getting into all this with Michael Yon and more. But first, let's play some a newscast about it, and then raw footage of over 100 of them deserting, marching off the base. Here it is. Like everybody says, that's another star. It is the seal of Solomon.
All right, you guys, welcome back to another live stream here on Le Vibes. I appreciate you for being here. If you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel. I bring you weekly live videos as well as almost daily videos. We're making a push for 1,000 subs, and your support will mean the world to me. So in today's live stream, I wanted to have a look here at this interview that Alex Jones had with his son, Rex Jones. And essentially he just has Alex Jones completely turning on his boy, Donald J. Trump. And this is based on the recent escalations that have been happening in the war in Iran. And I want to make this an interactive session. So I really appreciate if you guys feel free to chime in with your thoughts, your opinions, any agreements, any disagreements. Let's talk about it. The more opinions that we have in here, it makes it a richer conversation to be had. So without further ado, let's dive right in.
Solomon and the anti-Israel people always go, "You're a liar, it's Ren Fam." No, it's worse. The seal of Solomon is the seal, and then this is in the Book of Solomon. It's one of the official Jewish holy books. You can read it online, it's free, okay, written thousands of years ago. And it explains how he had hundreds and hundreds of wives. He adopted all their religions. He was the wisest man alive. They weren't sure if he was accepted by God at the end, like King David, who was a man after God's own heart. And he was given the seal when he was involved in black magic, basically by the devil as a way to control demons. And so the two triangles, one down, one up, that symbol is the seal of Solomon, or Solomon's key. Okay, so that is the symbol that is a top signet in black magic and in the occult. There are several other symbols that are seen as almost as powerful. One is the V. That's why Aleister Crowley, officially for OSS, did rituals and created the V to counter the swastika. The sun symbol, or the swastika turning clockwise, is also seen.
All right, fellows, apologies about that. I'm going to go ahead and dive ahead. I don't know if you guys are interested in seeing any of these Aleister Crowley stuff, because it might be a little bit too conspiratorial for y'all. So I'm going to dive right ahead to the actual interview with Rex Jones.
In the occult as a symbol almost as powerful, or as powerful, maybe more powerful than the
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go.
Global war. The reality is technocracy. The reality is mass migration. Here's the thing. If you're awake to that, if you're awake to the problem, just like we talked about with Joe Kent with the alcoholic analogy, then you're able to recover from it. But as long as you continue to live in the delusion and to eat the tic tacs that the system gives you, you will never truly be able to make progress. And here's the thing. It is a wonderful thing to have disagreements, to debate things, but you cannot deny reality. And the reality is we are at full and total war. It's not just a war with missiles and drones and people in the Middle East. It's not just a war against Russia and Ukraine, a proxy war, the West versus Eurasia, Russia, China, you name it. It's not just the South China Sea. It is also the mass influx and inflow of third world populations that are from these destabilized and destroyed regions in the global South that are a direct consequence of the wars that we fight in large part for greater Israel. So that is the key. That is the thing to realize. Now, of course, not all of the mass migration is a result of that. Of course, we've covered George Soros since literally before I was alive. He is a huge part of that, as well as the leftist NGOs, USAID in the past. It's just been reformed to a new organization and many other. And we're going to go to a report from my father talking about the conquering, the taking over of Spain. If we can go back to the video really quick before we go to the report, I just want to show people, okay? This is not the families. It's not the starving grandmother with the children. These are young men in their 20s, their 30s. These are combat age men. These are dudes coming over to conquest. They're coming over on a crusade. They're coming over on a takeover mission, and they are going to subsume Europe and take it over because they come from a region that is so destroyed and so destabilized, they don't know if they're going to get food or water the next day. You know what happens when you give those people welfare and resources? They have about a dozen kids. Okay. And this isn't something as to where it's like, oh, the Europeans don't have children anymore and their birth rate is so much higher. It's literally all because of the society they come from versus the society that we live in. Okay. We live in the lap of luxury. We live in a world where basically everybody, well, not in America, but in the West and Europe, a lot of these people are literate. A lot of these people are educated. A lot of these people are used to a high.
Yeah. So when it comes to, I want to hear from you guys down in the chat, y'all. So what do you think about that? Like, do you think that it is because of all these wars that are causing mass migrations, or is it just people looking for greener pastures? Because those people were coming from like me, for example, from Nigeria. Like a lot of us were coming for greener pastures. There's no necessarily any wars that were caused by like the US in Nigeria, but yet we have a lot of Nigerians immigrating away from Nigeria, moving towards greener pastures. So I think that's just what humans do. I don't necessarily think that this has to do with Israel, but then again, I might be wrong. Maybe the immigration from Nigeria is not mass immigration, because a lot of us, we come here as international students or through like some form of like skilled worker programs or what have you. And so not necessarily refugees. I know I had a friend of mine, Nigerian as well, tried to apply for refugee status to get into Canada, and he was actually declined. So maybe I'm misunderstanding here. Y'all let me know down in the chat. Like, what do you think is responsible for the mass migrations? You think it's these wars, or you think it's maybe just a part of the reason? Let's talk about it while I pull up the actual clip of Alex Jones. Jones 28, so 7/28/26. Yes, so I believe, so I got it wrong, guys. Actually, the interview that I was looking for, it was actually on the 28th of July, where Alex Jones turns on his boy DJT.
Real time, uncensored, unstoppable. AlexJonesLive.com. Take a stand. Share the link.
Off and on throughout the week with all the special guests we've got coming up as well. But let's go ahead now and go to Professor Zhang. A few months ago, we also had him on the show to talk about this, predicting they would implement the draft in the next few months. And now we're a few months later, and they're getting ready to do it. He certainly was right there. And then I want to dovetail that back to back with Lindsey Graham in a new documentary excerpts coming out.
So what do you guys think about this thing Alex Jones just talked about the military draft? Like, is that true? Actually, is that actually happening? Why don't we look that up live right away? Because that is definitely worrisome, if you ask me. U.S. military draft, July 2026. So what happened here? So this is what I find here. It says here, there is no active military draft in the United States and conscription is not currently in effect. While the active military remains an all-volunteer force, changes to the registration process are underway following provisions in the National Defense Authorization Act. So it says here, no active draft. So has there been any recent announcements as it relates to the war in Iran? So it says here, President Donald Trump announced he has canceled a massive pending joint U.S.-Israeli bombing campaign against Iran after the parameters of a deal were roughly agreed upon. So once again, anyways, these guys are not answering my question because I was just asking about what does it have to do with drafts, right? So right here, says it right here. Current status and upcoming changes. No. So why can't I find it? So it looks like Alex Jones might be BSing us, guys, but is anybody surprised? But maybe I'm not looking at the right sources. Let me know. Any of you guys that have heard about this draft that Alex Jones is talking about, is there any truth to that? Let's talk about it.
Wall Street Journal, CNN has stuff behind the scenes coming out in the first days of the war, 150 days ago. Him saying, he thought the uprising would happen and it was going to fall. We got this from leaks in the White House. Now it's all confirmed out of his mouth. We've also got other Lindsey Graham clips. So let's play 39, 40, and 16. We also have the clip where Trump talks about he just loves to blow stuff up. Lindsey Graham, boy, we sure got him in total war. This is the best thing I ever did. This is truly megalomaniacal. And now they're gearing up national conscription for your sons and your daughters. Here's the clips.
But America has always had a draft. But for the longest time, it didn't really care whether or not you actually signed for the draft. And starting in December, participation in the draft will be automatic, meaning that if you're between 18 to 24 in America and you're male, you'll be automatically put into the draft system.
From when?
I think from December.
This year?
Yes, that is correct, yes.
So between the age of 18 and 25, you think, and what does that really mean? Well, I've not really experienced that in my lifetime. So it means that if you're between the age of 18 and 24, either gender?
No, male.
Male, then you have to sign up for the army.
No, you already put into a draft.
Oh, you're already, okay, but you might be called upon.
That's right, it's a lottery system.
Able to deliver. Well, to be honest with you, I think about 3 to 4 weeks, we should have them in a spot where they start losing control of some cities. And what we're trying to do is just get a few cities to fall in the next month, get the Arabs more openly involved tomorrow or by the end of the week, and just have almost irreversible momentum.
Do you have it on speaker, Ryan?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, all right, connecting you now.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, baby, Lindsay.
Hey, Lindsay. How are you?
I couldn't, I'm just so impressed. Glad to be your friend.
I'm glad you are, my friend.
I'm going to meet with the president this weekend. I'm going down to Doral. I'm going to try to get him to join with y'all in Lebanon to maybe fly some with you. Would you like that?
Yeah, I get that. I think you have a point, but I've been thinking about the other side of it for a second. We're concentrating right now on Iran. If we tell Hezbollah that we're going all the way, we threaten them, but if we actually do it, then they have no reason not to go all the way against us. And right now, that's not our interest. We can do it later,
Well, okay, well, that's actually good counsel. I'll put it out there as an idea. We can always go back to it. Iran, he's letting this thing slip away. We had him on the ropes, and his indecision's coming back to hurt us. And I got to go talk to him, open up the straits, keep the pressure on, unleash Israel to hurt them, and maybe you'll get a better deal. But the big deal, Saudi, Israel, you went with me. That's the big prize, and that can't happen until Israel and Saudi believe Iran can't be an upheaval force, that they have been put in a box. And here's the good news. MBS and Bibi have two things in common. They owe Trump a lot, like Trump, but they're afraid of Trump. And Trump is the first president who doesn't hold back when it comes to Israel. I mean, I think he's going a bit too far, but he will dress Bibi down in a way that no other Republican president has ever done. That gives him some credibility in the Arab world. And I'm going to exploit that this is the party of Trump. And what I'm trying to do is prove that isolationism is an outlier in our party. Yeah. So this was a referendum on isolationism versus Lindsey Graham, MAGA Trump.
All right, incredible clips. Let's unpack those.
Yeah, so indeed incredible. And I'm going to obviously be quiet so that Alex Jones can unpack it. But I just want to make like an unpopular opinion here. So Lindsey Graham, I believe that's how you say his name. Like, God bless his soul. I believe he passed away unexpectedly. He might have died suddenly at his home. But is it concerning that, like, and I believe he was 71 years old. So we have like these advanced aged individuals that are like warmongers advocating for us on our behalf. But these guys, they've lived out the prime of their lives, right? And you can see that they're at the twilight of their lives. So why do we need to have them making decisions like this about our own futures? Those of us that still hopefully have a couple decades left, right? So it's not in our best interest that we have these conflicts where you can see someone like Lindsey Graham, as well as other people like that. They are really warmongers. They are really advocating for wars. Could it be because they're at the twilight stage of their lives and they don't care what happens to the world? Like, really, let's talk about it. Like, or do you think that there are also younger people that are also advocating for the wars? Or is it just these older men that want to see the world burn? Let's talk about it in the chat for real. Now I'm going to let the Alex Jones and his son break it down some more.
So yes, the draft goes into December, but the law is actually already in place. So now they're setting the AI up by the 14th of next month, August. So the AI then decides who's drafted. Absolutely insane. They're going to total war. Remember 3 weeks ago, Axios leaked by Trump said he's leaning towards ground troops. Now we see troops surging. When I went on this vacation, when I was flying out of Austin and there's other airports, I just saw troops everywhere with their bags, in their plain clothes, with their patches and stuff, mainly Army.
So apologies, guys. So I just had to look that up because I couldn't help but notice that Alex Jones talked about it again. So I looked it up. I said, what law in the US has AI deciding who is drafted? And now take this with a grain of salt, because as you know, I don't know if you know this, but I've noticed that AI is also kind of in line with everything going on. Let me just say it like that. Not to sound crazy, at the risk of sounding crazy, but so take this with a grain of salt, but I'll read it anyways. It says here, there is no law in the United States that allows artificial intelligence to decide who is drafted. The confusion stems from public anxiety surrounding a recent law that automates the registration process for the draft, which some online narratives have misinterpreted as an AI-driven draft. The actual law and how the system works involve several key factors. So anyways, it just sounds like as if they're saying that it's a misunderstanding. I'm not going to bore you guys. You can look into it in more detail if you want, but it's just because Alex Jones keeps touching on that. So I just wanted to fact check it. So take it with a grain of salt. This AI drafting, like, we don't want to fearmonger anybody here. Just want to be looking at the facts.
going to the Middle East. Talked to a lot of them. A lot of them had patches of what country they were going to. It was mainly Jordan. So this is all happening. And then you have him saying, first in the video we played yesterday, Graham's like, oh yeah, it'll just take a few days. It's going to be great. Trump loves blowing stuff up. Then it's we just need a month or so. We need a few cities. We need an uprising. And then you see the most important clip, Netanyahu. He's like, hey, we want to help you take all of Lebanon. He goes, well, we don't want them to know we're taking all of Lebanon, or they'll actually fight us everything they've got. We want to basically sucker punch them. We want to sleepwalk everybody in. We don't want Iran or Lebanon to know we plan to take it all. Now, Ben Gvir has since said that, and we're going to, quote, kill everybody and burn it all down, and it's all ours. And there are other ministers have said that as well. So you could see this happening 100-something days ago. Let's keep it secret from the public. And you've got the Wall Street Journal and CNN being told, don't put this out till later. We want documentaries made about what we did, showing the behind the scenes. Obviously, Netanyahu knew there were cameras there. And then they have an embargo on that information. It wasn't supposed to come out until we won the war, so they could have Wall Street Journal and CNN specials about how the great neocons won the war, how isolationism was defeated, and the referendum on isolationism and Trump being anti-war is all discredited now, and he's a wartime president, isn't it great? Instead, 150 days later, Trump is at a 30% approval rating. He was at 57 a year ago. The oil and gas and energy has totally exploded. We're set to lose the midterms. And now Trump in the threat escalation ladder, doubling down with the mass troop surge. I mean, I'm standing there at 7 a.m. at the Austin Bergstrom Airport, going to check luggage with my daughters I went on vacation with. And it's nothing but Army troops, men, women, you name it. And they all got their Army tattoos, their backpacks.
Yeah, so it's pretty bad, guys. So I'll just say this, like something that I definitely experienced going through the States. And what I noticed is like the gas stations that are close to Canada, the ones close to the border, they are literally all closed. So this is like close to the Syracuse, New York side. Literally all the gas stations are closed, most likely because Canadians don't go to the States anymore to get their gas, right? Exchange rate right now doesn't really make any sense. You're not really making any savings. Not to mention, I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that a lot of Canadians, they've been boycotting the US thanks to yours faithful DJT, right? So, but anyways, I'll keep it playing here.
They got their big Army bags, their big tan bags. People are saying, thank you for your service. I'm talking to them. They're like, yeah, you know where we're going. Yeah, Middle East. Well, Alex, I'm a listener. I can't say. Not only we got a sticker, you got a patch on the back of your deal. It's the Jordan. Well, yeah. So that's what's going on. And then I made a connecting flight, and it was the same thing. I made a connecting flight in a major city, and it was just troops everywhere. And I'm at restaurants, troops, bar, troops, in line, troops.
Yeah, so I don't understand. So for this guy here, right, like for Alex Jones, like how can he stay here and talk still? Like this man, DJT, some can argue that DJT wouldn't be the president if it wasn't for Alex Jones and other right-wing podcasters and really the big hitters, right? Alex Jones was one of the biggest voices pushing for DJT. So he's like, someone consider he's the reason why DJT is there right now, or at least a very big reason why. Right? So why does he think anybody should listen to him right now? Like he literally spearheaded the re-election of the man that is waging all these wars, and now he's coming out against it. At least it's good. He's not going down with the ship, right? He's at least raising his hands and admitting that he made a mistake. But now, why does he still want to sound like an expert on the matter, right? I think he needs to be quiet at this point, accept or admit that he backed the wrong horse, and then stop acting like as if he's such an expert and that he knows everything, because clearly he doesn't. He got played by DJT, and now DJT is in there, and you see, now he's flip-flopping. And I know what some of you are going to say, right? Well, what was the alternative? Kamala Harris. Would you rather have Kamala Harris or DJT? And to that I say, I refer you to the episode of South Park where they said, who are you going to vote for between a turd and a douche? Like literally, those were the options that they give the people of South Park to vote for, was between a turd and a douche. And I think it's something similar to that, right? They just give us such poor choices that people just have to choose the lesser of two evils. So I don't know that we wouldn't be worse off, or maybe we'll be better off with Kamala Harris. I don't know. Let's talk about it in the chat, guys. What do you think life would have been like in America if Kamala Harris had actually won the elections as opposed to DJT? How would the war in Ukraine be going right now? Would that have escalated even more? What about the war in Israel and Iran? Would that not have escalated as much? If I were a betting man, I would probably guess that Kamala Harris would have probably backed Ukraine heavily, but then not backed Israel as much. So essentially, they would have done the opposite of what each other are doing right now. But I might be wrong. I want to hear from you guys down in the chat. Let's talk about it.
Troops. And they were all going to the Middle East. So Middle East. And then when I got to where I was going, I was watching people coming into the airport, and you know what they were? They were soldiers. I've never seen this. Never. I probably wasn't paying attention back during, well, it was 2003 and, 1990. If I'd been to the airport, I'm sure I would have seen the same thing. But that's human intel. It's not just them admitting they're surging, not just admitting they're preparing ground invasion, not just admitting they're getting the draft ready to be implemented, executed. You can see it with your eyeballs. Let's bring in my son, Rex Jones, who's co-hosting with me today. Rex, you were making some good points during the break. I hope you'll repeat about this is why we were told that MAGA, that was anti-war and pro-liberty, we're not MAGA. No, all the never Trumpers, Lindsey Graham and Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro, they are MAGA. And Trump told us they are MAGA now. And Trump doesn't care about the average plight, he said, of Americans. I don't care about anybody who's having financial problems. I care about war. I'm not worried about Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, or daycare. I'm worried. There's no inflation. There's
Hashtag Rumble takeover in the chat.
there's no affordability.
And not just that, but like DJT is so disconnected. Have you guys heard that he's even talking about running for like another election? You know what? I'm going to try and find that clip for you guys. Just hold on 1 second. I'm going to pull that up because when I saw it, I couldn't even believe my eyes. I was like, is this guy serious right now? He's literally talking about running for another election. In the midst of all these, like his approval rating being at 30%, the man is such a narcissist, in my opinion, that he's still talking about running for another election. I literally have it saved here. I'm going to pull it right up for you guys. Looking right here. See? It's right here. I wasn't even joking. It's literally right here.
Tonight to show just how much I care about the press, and I want to save your ratings. I'm pleased to announce my intention to, and this is somewhat of a scoop, my intention to run for a 4th term as President of the United States. I will be doing that. I will be having an official, in fact, I think I have, I won 3 times. Now I'm going to do it again. Thank you. I'm going to do it. Should be easy. I'm getting very good at running for president. No, I won 3 times, did very well the 2nd time, by the way. It's a rigged election, but we don't have to talk about it. When I'm gone, you're all going to be broke. Your business model is going to be finished. No, it's true. When I'm not around, you're going to be broke. There's not going to be anybody to report on. Nobody gives a damn about anybody else. Tonight to show just how.
So what say you guys? When I'm gone, you're all gonna be broke. So, I mean, I don't think like everybody's like bawling out right now. I think this guy is stone deaf. A lot of people are crying at the gas pumps. A lot of people are crying at the grocery stores. A lot of people are crying as a result of the unemployment rates, right? A lot of people are not happy with where things are. A lot of people feel baited. like as if they got catfished, bait and switched, right? A lot of people were promised America first, and that's not what they're getting. And now you have this man talking about running for the fourth time. And it even gets more alarming, guys, because not only is he talking about running the fourth time, if you look in the comment section, there are literally people that are backing it as well. And even some people are saying, okay, well, let's go. Obama can run then. You see, some people are like, okay, let's call in our boy Obama. And it just makes you wonder, right? Like, are these the only set of people that can rule the country? And why? Like, since when did America become like the UK, where you have like a select few people running the country? Why? Like, it's not by bloodline, right? Or at least it's not supposed to be. So I don't get it. Like, don't tell me that America don't have more to offer than Donald Trump and Barack Obama. And by the way, don't get me wrong, Obama is a highly learned guy, highly sophisticated, but he has had his chance. You know, like, how about you give someone else a chance that hasn't had the opportunity to lead the country before? Why is it between these old men? Sorry to say, guys, but why? Why can't we have someone with like fresher ideas that is not so into politics just to come in there and kind of like just revamp? Because I think we need a complete overhaul, in my opinion. So it just shows you how tone deaf this guy is. Now I'm going to go back to Alex Jones and Rex Jones.
Crisis. Mark Mitchell a year ago went and warned the White House. They saw my show. J.D. Vance brought him there to meet with the president. He just blew it off. And then Mark Mitchell got told by Rasmussen, don't do interviews anymore and don't tell the president this. And he left. And he was on yesterday. So that's the level of them trying to put Trump in a bubble. You heard Lindsey Graham, oh, I've got to get back over, and he's hesitating again. I got to get him back in the war. So all these same people, other than Graham, who's dead now, his funeral today, all these people, we need to cover that. Big war council. You got Zelensky and Netanyahu coming to town. You got Zelensky saying to show evidence.
Well,
the Russians are helping the Iranians. They're all here to accelerate this giant war. Rex Jones.
Yeah, it's like a giant mafia funeral, right? It reminds me of The Sopranos. That's where the real deals get done and the real hits get set out, ordered, and made. And, you know, there's a lot of talk about Netanyahu and Zelensky visiting, and I do want to get into that with you. This is why I am so grateful and proud that we are an anti-war network and that I was raised in an anti-war environment, because it was unacceptable then. It's unacceptable now. And that's why our position, the position of this network and the guests that we have on and many other credible, complete betrayal of the Trump recovery, and the same people who will make excuses for it, call it limited strikes. It's a war, but it's not a war. That's been going on for 47 years. It needs to go on for another 20. The people pushing that at a certain point are going to realize that they can't ever talk about politics again. I think that's coming very, very soon. I'm 23 years old. I see a lot of these people age 45, 50 plus talking about how this isn't a conflict, talking about how we have to support Trump at all costs because the Democrats are.
All right. So my question for these guys is just this, right? Like, who are they backing that is not a warmonger? Because last time I checked, Hillary Clinton, warmonger. Barack Obama, he did the Iran deal, right? But I believe that there were also wars, right? The same thing, I believe, even with Joe Biden, wars. So I don't know of any president that is not into wars. I think it's like a requirement. So when they're saying they're not into wars, then who are they going to back? Let's know. Who are they going to back? Who's not into wars that wants to run for president? Because it seems like that's a prerequisite for running for the president of the U.S. is that you need to be into wars.
So much worse. Here's what I'd say. You want to talk about a ready-made campaign ad for the midterms? How about that coffin coming home? You know, how about those coffins, plural, coming home? How about the 4 Americans that just died? Tyler, Sarah, Angel, and Michael, that Trump now says didn't die in the Iran war. I mean, you want to talk about dishonor. You want to talk about someone betraying the troops. That's what Trump is doing by saying that. And we all know we're at full war. We all know it's a full conflict. That's what I think, Dad.
You're absolutely right, Rex. And let's just remember this. Ben Shapiro, when they put over $1 billion of Israeli money on record into his Daily Wire, did become one of the top shows in the top 3 or 4 for a few years. His average YouTube videos had about 2 million views apiece. His average video His average report has about 5,000 on his own channel. Now, when we play it or others expose it, it gets millions of views, but that's hate. Like when I talked to Brian Stelter once on the phone, when I was with Tucker Carlson, we called him up. And I said, your show had no ratings except when we attacked you on our shows. You're a big star as a clown. And so Shapiro goes from 2 million, you can go look it up, 2 or 3 years ago, 2 million per video on average. And then it goes down, 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 down. And there's graphs that show this. And now it's flatlined at the bottom.
So guys, that's actually true. Like Ben Shapiro was absolutely killing it before. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think is responsible for his fall? Is it because of his stance with Israel? Or is it just that people got fatigued of him? Because if you look here, these are like his latest videos, right? I just take myself off the screen and then you can clearly see that one day ago, 18K, one day ago, 7.2K. 10 days ago, 459K, 12 days ago, 17K. So just look at that, right? Now, I'm not one to talk, right? I mean, I would kill for those kind of views that he's getting. So don't get me wrong, that's still very good. But for like a channel like the Daily Wire, where they have like staff and studios and employees and everything, then these are definitely not acceptable views. And I think that's why you had a lot of layoffs over at the Daily Wire as well. But it is true that his views did tank by his standards, of course.
You have to blow the graph up just to even see it. It looks like it just goes away. So it goes, so they are throwing themselves on their own swords because they're kamikazes.
Well, they don't care.
They're throwing themselves on their, exactly. They have a mission to get us into total war. That is their plan. They've basically done it. They're merging with our military and intelligence. This is a coup. This is total insanity. Meanwhile, we got the Chi-Coms to deal with. We got big tech. We got the data centers. It's great that Trump at least shut down the border. The deportations aren't good enough. It's painful to have to be focused on this, but the number one threat is them dragging us into total war, which is on the threat escalation ladder. You've got Joe Kent, I think, coming on the War Room tomorrow, who's totally vindicated. And does Trump thank Joe Kent? Does Trump thank Tulsi Gabbard? Does Trump thank General Kane, who he's kept on, the chairman that told him don't do it? Does he? No, you never hear him praise him anymore. They fired the head of the Army because he didn't agree with this and said it was insane when they wanted to get a ground invasion. Trump's yelled at the admirals who won't put their ships in the strait where they can all be sunk. This is the reality of this. And so all the never-Trumpers that hated Trump and that lied to him, they're better than ever. They're wonderful because they're saying Trump was right. And all of us that knew we were talking about and predicted all of this, we're bad.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Our love comes cheap, Dad. That's why he doesn't care about it. He has a pathological need to be liked by the people that hate him. And, we genuinely cared. We believed in the platform. We believed in the truth. That's why I supported Trump in 2016 and then again in 2024, right? I pulled the cross out of my shirt and told people to vote for him. Then
hold on. So when did he decide, like, when did he realize that this is Trump's personality, that he wants the approval of people who don't care about him? When did he find this out? Was this back in 2016 when they backed him, or was it in 2020 when they also backed him, or 2024 where they again backed him? That's what I want to know.
The assassination attempt happened in Butler because I genuinely believe they wanted to kill him because he was pro-peace, anti-war. That was my position. I 100% believe that, and I was motivated. I felt in that moment by God to do that. And I look back at what's happened now at the complete and utter and total betrayal. It's not our fault.
But let's be clear. Let's be clear. The left says, oh, you were wrong to support him for 10 years. You're an idiot. No, he was way better. We got a lot good done.
Sure.
It was a beachhead. It isn't about, oh, we're good, we didn't make a mistake. It's about history. It's about what happened. The point is, with the Epstein files in June of last year, and the cover-up that was decided to happen when Elon left, that's when he decided to join with the dark side completely. So it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi's telling Luke what happened.
Interesting. So he's saying that Trump kind of turned ever since the Epstein files. That's what I just understood him say. So does that mean that there's something there then? Like, because a lot of people have been wondering, like, is that why are they blackmailing Trump? So it sounds like Alex Jones is giving some legitimacy to those claims. I am of the opinion that Trump hasn't changed at all. Like, this is just how he's always been. right? And it was not a secret that he loves Israel and he loves Bibi Netanyahu. Anybody that has been listening to Trump would have known that he was going to come in and he was going to try and level Iran at the, like, for Israel. Everybody knew this, or at least everybody should have known this. So I don't think that like this is so surprising. If anything, I'm surprised that someone as sharp as Alex Jones didn't see this coming, to be honest. What I think is that Alex Jones just had to back Trump because like of the whole red thing. And that's it. I think people just like to stick to their party. It's like, well, I'm a Republican and that's it. That's all. And so I'm going to have to vote for Republicans. And they don't want to see other candidates, other people that maybe have different ideas. That's just how I see it.
Your father, well, he was killed by my apprentice. He was killed by a pupil of mine, Darth Vader. And later he finds out, well, technically, no, his dad wasn't dead, but Obi-Wan says, you have to understand, he became a new person. He became a new identity, a new name. He literally died inside. So the point is, Trump, for whatever he was before, got a lot of good done, but now we have to admit he is now Darth Vader. But separate from that, we have to contain him, we have to deal with him, and then deal with the Democrats, who, when they get in, will be an even bigger threat. But the reality is Trump is the main current threat we're facing right now. This war could potentially end the planet. It's definitely killing the economy in the midterms, and it's going to get a bunch of people killed, even more if we go to full war. Understand, folks, there's a normalcy bias. This isn't like Iraq or Afghanistan or Vietnam. This is way worse. The Pentagon's own reports, Trump has been absolutely conned by Netanyahu and Lindsey Graham and others. You heard them bragging how they brainwash him. And so, but the good news is everybody from Laura Ingraham to Glenn Beck to Bill.
Yeah, so I've taken the liberty to look up some information here. So I searched, I said, Trump on Iran conflict back in 2016, 2020, and today. So I wanted to kind of see how has his stance actually evolved as it relates to the Iran conflict. And so here's what it says here. Donald Trump's approach to Iran has evolved from campaign trail rhetoric in 2016 and brinkmanship diplomacy in 2020 to leading a direct, active military conflict as president in 2026. So he went from campaign trail rhetoric in 2016. I don't know what that means. Brinkmanship diplomacy. So I guess he was more like against wars in 2020. And now in 2026, he's leading a direct, active military conflict. So a chronological breakdown shows how his stance shifted from criticizing previous administrations to executing full-scale military strikes. So the campaign, so 2016, the campaign and retribution rhetoric. So during his 2016 presidential campaign, Trump focused heavily on economic pressure and the failures of the Obama administration, taking a fiercely critical but non-interventionist stance on the surface. He called it the worst deal ever. That's the agreement that Obama had, the nuclear agreement that Obama had with Iran. And then the non-interventionist promise. So concurrently, Trump campaigned on a promise to wind down endless wars in the Middle East. His rhetoric was focused on avoiding major military entanglements while threatening that Iran would face severe economic consequences if he took office. So he was like, definitely he had a different approach. He wanted to use economics to punish Iran, but he definitely felt like Iran deserved punishing. And now in 2020, he had the maximum pressure and brinkmanship. So by 2020, Trump's administration had fully implemented its maximum pressure campaign, having withdrawn from the JCPOA in 2018. I believe that's the Obama deal, and reimposed crippling economic sanctions. This year marked a pivot from rhetoric to targeted kinetic action. So I don't know about you guys, but what I'm seeing here is that he's just fighting Iran, but in a different way than Obama. But either way, he's fighting Iran. And I guess my question is, why are they fighting Iran? Like, Iran are like very far away. And I think there's only one person that benefits from America fighting Iran, and that's most likely Israel. So why is it that all these presidents, they have to fight Iran, whether it's through direct military conflict or through economic attacks, sanctions? But why are you fighting Iran is the question.
All O'Reilly have told Trump he needs to stop the war now. Beck did it real nice. Like, boy, you were right. You kept prices down some, but now you can't. The oil reserve's gone, so you better end this right now or it's a total disaster, Trump. But boy, you're a genius. He's trying to actually get Trump to listen. That's the psychology that works, I think. But Bill O'Reilly, everybody else is saying, Trump, you're making big mistakes in the war now because they understand it's not winnable. Like I said back on June 1st, March 1st, if you could hit a button and send the mullahs, to the Phantom Zone or Mars, I'd do it. But it isn't going to work. And then Israel, it's not just get rid of the mullahs. Israel wants this with conflict and division to keep expanding and wants us to backstop their greater Israel project. Now they want to attack Turkey. Now they want to attack Egypt. And then there's Netanyahu saying it. This is crazy. We'll be right back with hour number 2. Rex Jones, Kyle Seraphin, Mike Adams, and so much more. Share those live feeds now at Real Alex Jones on X and tell folks about those local AM and FM stations. And please support us. Get the very best products at thealexjonestore.com. I'm going to tell you something right now that is one of the most, if not the most important things I've ever talked about on air. And I want you to really listen to me. And I want you to get a pen and paper out of your iPhone, out of your Droid, and type this into your notes. And I want you at lunch today target about already what the Strait of Hormuz closure is going to mean. They're talking about $160 a barrel oil, not just 140. This is a huge deal. Strategic oil reserve runs out basically in the next few days. EU's running out. China's running out with their reserves. This is massive. But the big issue is how to stop Trump. And we have to have Congress go for the war powers. They've 3 times tried to vote war powers. They're supposed to authorize a war. This is a war. They're getting the draft ready. If this isn't a war, nothing's a war. I mean, this is absolutely out of control. And so I'm calling for it right now. 25th Amendment, impeachment, whatever needs to happen to get this front and center, to get control of our country. It's impeachable alone that the president supporting the NDAA. I agree with Tucker Carlson and all of the people that voted for this to merge us with the foreign military. It actually says it in Section 219, clear as day. Need to be in Nuremberg-style trials. I mean, this is unbelievable. And if you think it's crazy now, imagine what's coming with this. They want us in a total war so they can censor and take our freedoms and nationalize everything and push us aside with AI, total liability, immunity, and protection. This is a disaster. We are facing tyranny, but the public's awakening. We've got to come together and transcend left and right. And we have to say no to an expanded war that will definitely destroy the economy, kill a bunch of our troops. They're preparing a massive ground invasion. It's all confirmed. This is
Rumble Cloud, your freedom, our promise. Break free from big tech's grip with the cloud service
going down right now. Rex, what do you think we should do to spotlight this? I'll tell listeners we're live right now. Share a live feed. We're going to cut all this up. Breaking. Alex Jones calls for impeachment of President Trump for attempt to implement the national draft and launch total ground invasion of Iran. Americans left and right must come together now and demand Congress invoke the war powers and end this war now. The Senate must vote down the NDAA that's already passed the House. We have our action plan. Rex Jones, what do you say?
Well, I mean, they're getting ready right now. All those soldiers you saw at the airport going to Kuwait, Jordan, Israel, other places in the Middle East, they want those soldiers to be used in a ground operation. They're doing the shaping operations for that right now. I've talked to Joe Kent, Anthony Aguilar, Special Forces operators about this all the time. They want those soldiers to die because then American nationalism will rise. We'll get upset and we'll say, hey, it's time for the draft. We'll accept it. That is where I see all of this going. This is the most dangerous time to be a young person in America in a very, very long period of our history. They want to draft us. They want to kill us in a war manufactured for Israel, by Israel. That's what Joe Kent said in his resignation letter. He said that his wife, Shannon, died in a war manufactured by Israel. We're just in another one of those. Now, I don't know what direction it goes immediately. The escalation ladder, the escalation trap, world-renowned professor and geopolitical analyst Robert Pape talks about this all the time. There are no brakes on this train. And that's why my position, since I covered this at 2 a.m. in the morning when this was all happening on February 28th, March 1st, my position has been stop it now, leave now, take our troops home. And everyone who has made compromises, everyone who's tried to stroke the president's ego, everyone that's tried to be in the in club and hang out at Mar-a-Lago and to go to the parties. Here's the thing. That's like Berlin when it's being bombed by the Russians. That's where you're at. That's where we are. And it's time to wait.
And wow, guys, here's what the Iranians have to say about the possible ground invasion. So they're not afraid. Essentially, they're not afraid. Check it out.
He's asking, What do you think about the potential of a ground invasion? And here's how he reacts. Go ahead.
Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
Sure. You are waiting for the U.S. military to invade the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
Okay.
So you're saying that
So you've heard it there, right? Like essentially, like they want this, and I can't blame them for wanting this, because the U.S. you already know that like they have a super Air Force and like the super Navy, but you know what? Like, so as a result of that, you can't really get your hands on them, right? You can't really touch them because they're just bombing you from the skies. But I think Iran will probably have a better chance if they can actually get their hands on some of these troops. And so that's probably why they're welcoming this. So I think that would be a bad mistake. And honestly, at this point, I don't even know who's going to agree to go for this invasion, this ground invasion. Like, I, for one, I would not be going. I would not be allowing my children to go because I did not sign up for this. Like, and I don't know anybody that signed up for this, to be honest. Y'all let me know down in the chat, guys. Like, you know, like any of the youngins that are in the chat, or even the older people with children. Would you be sending your children for a ground invasion on Kyrgyz Island, for example? Let's talk about it in the chat, guys. This is not Call of Duty. This is real life.
Wake up from that. We'll see you on the next segment.
I agree. That's like Hitler in his bunkers. The Russians come into Berlin. Dead on Rex Jones. We'll be right back. Stay with us. So many huge guests coming up. Share the live feeds now. You're Paul Revere. Share them now. Now into hour number 2 of this live Tuesday, July. It's time to totally decouple from Trump psychologically as Republicans are populist. Expose the Democrats. They have the votes. With the few Republicans to override this, they haven't. Deal with them. Deal with communist China. Cut off Israel, who's trying to merge their military and co-own all of our weapon systems. So whether it's impeachment, 25th Amendment, those are long shots, but we can use that to make this front and center and protest peacefully. You go to the state houses, go visit your senators when they're in the district, your House members, call Congress right now. But bottom line, the easiest path is the war powers. They need to invoke the war powers. We only need 3 votes. Congress needs to stop this now. And you see everybody from Laura Ingraham to Glenn Beck to Bill O'Reilly to so many others telling Trump, you need to end this now. This is devastating the economy. It's going to kill us in the midterms. And that's just the old 150 days with the bombardments, the strait being closed. It's about to get a lot worse. So we're about to go to call Sheriff and Rex, but I wanted you, as a young man, a prime target of this, with them eyeing you with AI to be drafted and be sent to the Middle East to fight for Israel. What is that like?
Yeah, so I grew up at the office. I think the original InfoWars office, first time I ever went in there was when we got it when I was like 7 years old. And the entire nature of our network, since its founding, since literally before I was born, was an anti-war network. It was calling out the neocons, the globalist policy. What that means is building this empire of, you know, manufactured transnational capital combined with our own military-industrial complex. To a degree now, we're not even only dealing with our own military-industrial complex, we're going to be fusing and allowing Israel's to take control of us. So I look at it as a 23-year-old young man, and I see all these people that are 60, 70, 80 years old in Congress, in the Senate, like Lindsey Graham, 71 years old, talking about if we can do Iwo Jima, we can do this. What am I dying for, Lindsey? Like, if I'm going to go get drafted, go get blown up by a FPV drone, or if an Iranian 14-year-old is going to fire an RPG at my head, what am I dying for when my blood is in the Persian Gulf? Like,
exactly. And why do you need to die because a 71-year-old man who has lived his own life wants you to fight? Like, that's my question. It's like, I don't really care that much about Iran. So why do I need to go and fight them? Like, we have our own battles here with the cost of living, the unemployment markets. We're already facing battles here. We don't need more battles, guys. And I think these rich people, I think it's because they are so rich, they have no problems, so they try and manufacture problems for all of us. But, you know, we already have enough problems of our own that we're dealing with. So, yeah.
Does that make anyone's life better at home? Does that improve anything for any American? No. but it makes a lot of Israeli politicians very, very happy. And that's why it's happening. When all else fails, they take you to war. That's what this is. It's the establishment of the Greater Israel Project. And I, as a young American, I don't have any choice, any say in that. I am a member of the greatest nation on earth, a nation of over 300 million people, and we're beholden to and at the beck and call the government of a nation of 9 million people. And that is just the reality. You talk about Ukraine as well, and I think that this is worth bringing up. They want to throw us in buses and take us to the front line. You can say, "Oh, that's outrageous. That's outrageous." We hear about
just like Ukraine.
We hear about these armies, Dad.
And what humans are in Ukraine, they admit, is decoys for the Russians to attack with drones and artillery, so the satellites the U.S. runs can target the Russians. They're literally fed to cannons. The World War I term, cannon fodder, cannon feed. Now, let's bring in Kyle Seraphin. I want to be very, very clear with everyone right now. This is all happening past your normalcy bias. It's only going to get worse till people get awake and get active and get very, very upset. And I'm not defending Israel here. We need to get a bigger picture. Israel is the main lobby in AIPAC that is the muscle to get this passed, to primary anybody that doesn't support total war and Israel taking over our foreign and domestic policy completely. But you also have the military-industrial complex, the arms manufacturers already selling $1 trillion a year worldwide and getting $1.5 trillion here domestically. They want it. You also have the big BlackRock globalists that want a world depression as a great reset. They've been bragging this war is depressing the world economy, which bankrupts the individual and nation states and allows them vertical integration and consolidation. So those systems are supporting the war as well. And then domestically, the politicians want a big war to take our liberties and our freedoms instead of a bigger surveillance police state grid. So you have a lot of different corrupt forces, a lot of them interconnected. You got the Epstein class wanting this as a distraction from that. That also goes to Israel and the Mossad. So it's Israel heavily nested in all of this, but it's also a perfect storm. We need to understand the other interests that want us in this as well. Let's bring in Kyle Seraphin, former EMT, former Air Force veteran, counterterrorism.
All right, guys. Well, I thank you so much for joining me today. We're almost at the 1 hour mark. I'm going to leave you here for today. As you can see, Donald Trump he's having his core supporters, the people that really backed him, Alex Jones, even Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, coming out against him, calling for the what is that called? The war powers to be able to be used to remove him because he has completely lost the plot. And I want to hear from you guys down in the comment section below. What do you think about this? Do you think that this is something that they're going to actually be able to pull off? Do you think DGT is actually going to step down? Even if they try to remove him, do you think he's going to go down without a fight? So let's talk about it in the chat, because the way I see him going right now, he doesn't seem like someone that's going to go down without a fight, because I think he knows that once he steps down from that office, then he's probably going to spend the rest of his life in prison. Questions, opinions, you already know what to do. Hit your boy up. If you enjoyed the live stream, consider subscribing to the channel, give the video a like, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.